Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Saturday. We got it. We made it through the week, and I actually do know what day it is today. So, yes, it's Saturday. You can take that to the bank. You're looking absolutely amazing. We're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes as we have a little bit to talk about, and today's video is going to be a bit of a room splitter as we talk about Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow. Just think about that as well. Think about the fact that it's now the 27th, so we're 17 days since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster with so many thoughts and theories, and I'm going to speak about that in another video. But this is really just I've got to talk about this, right? And some people say, no, you don't. You don't have to talk about this at all. You're just being a tosser. And for those people, all I'm going to say is piss off. Do you know what I mean? Charlie was somebody who would go around campuses, he'd have debates with people, and he gave people an open mic and said, look, if you disagree with me, come at the front of the queue, because he was a decent person and wanted to listen. Me, on the other hand, not so much if you're being a prick. Do you know what I mean? I listen to differences of opinions, but not when people are just being a flat-out dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Erika Kirk, she's a widow. She's lost her husband. Her husband was literally assassinated. He was shot in public because of what? Well, again, we'll get into that at some point, because what we're being told happened just ain't what happened. The way it happened ain't the way it happened. Now, do I believe that this was like some sort of Clive from Law Abiding Citizen scenario? I don't believe in that. I've seen the exploding cameras, and what pisses me off, not exploding cameras, exploding microphones and things like that. And what I will say is, look, some people, I get that they need to create content, and I get that they can watch it and they can twist everything every which way from Sunday, but it's a little bit weird when you're like, this is exactly what happened. He was shot from behind. You can see it. You can see the bullet. You can see the blood flying out. We've got it sorted. We've got it nailed, son. What you're being told is a lie, because this is what happened. You can clearly see it. And then a few hours later, it's like, we know what happened, guys. We know what happened. He had something under his shirt and it blew and went up into his neck. Definitely this is what happened this time. I know that I was balls deep in the other idea, but that idea, it's not as good as this idea. And next day, probably, he had something in his arse, guys. He had something in his arse. We know that he had some implant in his backside and it fired up, come up through his body, out through it. Do you know what I mean? Wait for it. But Erika Kirk, let's just have a quick listen to Erika Kirk. Bearing in mind, she's a widow. 17 days she's been a widow.
Erika Kirk, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks. It's surreal to actually be sitting, because last time I was standing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Just to sit. It's a little more emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you are rightly at the head of the table, and we're just so honored to have you here. I know that...
I say rightly at the head of the table, right? Wouldn't you say, is it rightly? Is it rightly? I'd say fucking tragically. 17 days in. Charlie Kirk was literally executed 17 days ago. And this was recorded 10 hours ago. The decision to put her as the head of the company was a few days before that. She's obviously done other, public speeches. We've also seen videos of her sort of quite tearing up over the actual corpse of her husband. But let's carry on.
To say that your life has been a whirlwind would be the understatement of the century. And to make time for Charlie's audience and to speak to them, I know that they can't wait to hear from you, and just to see you in this room probably means a lot to them.
I'm going to just fast forward it a little bit, because I don't want to listen to the whole entire thing, because the more I listen to it, the more it just annoys me. And I'll get back to why in a second.
Everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone has their marching orders. And the show, when we talked about this, became very intimate for me, because I was there from the beginning of all of it. And I'll never forget 2020, when literally the world stood still. And Charlie and I would go hiking every morning. And we would just talk about what life, the crazy things going on. And we came home from one of our hikes that season. And
we'll fast forward a little bit more. Because again, you know, I know she's reminiscent about stuff that she did with Charlie, but she's either a lot better person than me, mate. She's either a lot better person than me, and I know she's got this religious sort of, you know, thing in the background where she believes in forgiveness and people. When I questioned that before, even though people were. I don't know. I heard someone even say that I'd said that Erika Kirk was trying to get revenge on Charlie. It's ironic that the fucking Muppets that are around this case and watching videos are literally people who can't watch an entire video without making a comment, or they watch it and they make shit up in their head about what it was about and then have a go at you about it. The irony of it, like, that is what happened with Charlie Kirk consistently. He'd have a chat on something, someone had cut a video and make it look as shit as they possibly could, and then loads of people react, well, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he hates this person, he hates these people, he does this, and you're like, fucking hell, mate, if you can't even be bothered to actually watch the guy himself and what he's actually talking about, you know what I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I apologise for the cat is just constantly meowing because it wants to get in here, but if I let it in here, it will just jump on everything and turn this gaff over. So at the moment, he's just going to have to carry on whinging, which is a bit annoying.
God has blessed us with, the people who follow those socials will go on. Nothing is changing. But I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird. Cringy. We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off. Yeah. That's not what's happening. What's happening is the team is keeping this alive because we have Charlie in each and every one of us. Yes. And it is going to be continually the North Star of the conservative movement, of the voice of the youth, of the voice of the base. And that.
So this is obviously off the back end of this, right? Which it says Charlie Kirk's organisation to relaunch his campus tour. Turning Point USA said Erika Kirk, Republican governors and prominent conservative media personalities will fill in the slain conservative activist. Charlie Kirk's political organisation will return to college campuses beginning this week for a series of events expected to commemorate the conservative activist's life. Then feature appearances by his widow. We'll talk about Candace Owens in a second because there's obviously some fucking issue there. She's talking about money issues, money concerns within TPUSA, and it would appear that Candace Owens, despite her claims of how close she was to Charlie, which I'm not disputing, but she wasn't at his funeral, wasn't at the memorial service, seemingly not invited. I don't know the authenticity of that claim, but that seems to be, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not saying that I confirm that 100%. That's just what seems to be the general consensus. But it says Turning Point USA announced Monday it would hold events at several schools, including some campuses Kirk was slated to speak at before he was killed. During an appearance at Utah Valley University on September 10th, in front of thousands of spectators gathered for the first stop of a tour intended to revive the university events he famously used to build his profile. This time, the events are scheduled to include Republican governors Spencer Cox of Utah, Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, Jeff Landry of Louisiana, Greg Giaforte of Montana, and Senator Mike Lee of Utah. And one appearance, according to Turner Point's website, is set to occur at the University of California, Berkeley, a fabled hotbed of liberal activism that has recently faced backlash over its decision to disclose the names of 160 students, faculty, and staff to Trump administration officials investigating claims of anti-Semitism. Erika Kirk, the new leader of Turning Point USA pledged at an Arizona memorial on Sunday that the organisation's chapters will grow, thousands of new ones will be created, and yes, campus events will continue, and we will continue to hold debates and dialogue. So that's what they're talking about here, that they're actually going to obviously continue to push sort of Charlie's vision. Now, my main question here will be, what is the reality of them continuing to push Charlie's thoughts and feelings, his ideologies and what he wanted, when towards the end, it would seem that he was getting severe backlash, albeit privately and off the record, because of some of his views and the fact that he was changing some of his sort of his mindsets. We've heard about this trip over to the Hamptons that he took, that they deemed as a bit of an intervention. He was called some names that he rarely took to heart, rarely did fucking upset him, and lo and behold, a few days later, he is executed in public. And now we have Erika Kirk at the helm of the table, who, in my opinion, and it is only my opinion, it doesn't mean fuck all, she doesn't look like the grieving widow of someone who's just lost her husband in the absolute horrendous manner that he was killed. He was literally killed in front of millions of people. You saw what happened to him. It was fucking horrendous. And she's up here smiling and laughing and being able to compose herself the way she does. Now, she's either fucking amazing, and she might be. I'm just saying this ain't a good look. It's not a good look. And whether she's being controlled, like she turns around here in this little speech here, and it was like, we all have our marching orders, and you're like, well, who's pulling the strings then? Who's giving the marching orders? Is she giving the marching orders? Because if not only is she appearing on this sort of podcast and doing these sort of videos, but if she's behind the scenes saying, right, this is what we're doing, you're going over there, you're doing this, you know what you're doing, get this, get that, do this, so that's all going to come crashing down at some point. And if it doesn't, then I'd seriously question the authenticity of her upset, because I don't think anybody who truly been in a scenario where their loving husband and the father of their children had been executed in the manner that Charlie was, I don't think they'd have the strength to do that. I really don't. I don't think they'd, and there's just something, for me, there's just something that just don't sit very comfortable, and it'll be interesting now to see whether there is a turning point within Turning Point. Do we start seeing it make a shift away from what we would view as Charlie's ideologies, as aforementioned, or are they going to stay steadfast in the same views and operate in the same manner? Now, I appreciate there's going to be some differences in the way they can, because I don't think anybody's going to step into Charlie's shoes and be able to replace him, but I think it'll be very clear if we start to see some fundamental changes, such as the acceptance of certain donations, for instance, that it would appear that Charlie Kirk was steadfast in pushing against and not accepting. But we'll see. Keep your eyes peeled, and I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on this one as well, and just see whether she becomes crashing and burning down when the reality of what has actually happened to her and her family hits home, because she, to me at the moment, it doesn't appear that has fully sunk in. And I, because I'm not as a religious person like her, maybe I just don't have the same strength that kind of religious belief and connection offers you. And if that's the case, then kudos to it. But because I don't know and I've not walked in her shoes, to me, this just looks alien. Love you all. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Mwah.